Zen from Ne Obliviscaris here. This is Antihero Online.
First things first, how was Mexico? You guys just did a quick little tour run down there.
Yeah.
How'd everything go?
Yeah, Mexico was pretty insane. It was our first time there, so we went to ultimately test the waters before our US tour with Wintersun. We did 5 shows there. Well, we did 6. We sold out Mexico City, which was a really nice surprise, and so we had a day off, and so we thought we'd add another show for the people that missed out in Mexico City. So yeah, it was really overwhelming to know that we had like a lot of fans there. I mean, we get hassled a lot online from people from Mexico telling us to go there because a lot of bands don't seem to get there, even though it's so close to, North America, I guess. And so it was, really rewarding, and everyone there is really passionate about what you do, and they don't care what sort of music. It's just, it was really rewarding for us. So, I think we'll be back there pretty soon as well.
In transition, how is it compared to, the U.S. fans and European fans? How does Mexico kind of compare to those?
Mexico, I think they're I guess a lot more open, or more passionately open, as opposed to everywhere else. The US itself, they're pretty open. Europe seems to be a bit more standoffish in terms of showing how much your music sort of means to them. But Mexico, they just don't care. It's pretty wild over there.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. And the tour with Wintersun actually just kicked off yesterday.
Yes.
How was that first night, and what type of things did you guys kind of encounter?
Being a support for a bigger band isn't necessarily, it's nothing necessarily new to us. It's, I think for us, it's just trying to get comfortable and sort of work out how each band works, and go through all your teething problems with sound check and dealing with other bands and trying to work that kind of dynamic. Wintersun was, really sort of gracious towards us to start with, and, it's made it a lot easier just pretty much straight away. With touring with other bands, you want to be able to break the ice pretty quick, just so that, there's no awkwardness or that as you go along. And so with them, it was pretty cool. And also with Sarah Longfield, who's opening the tour as well. Fantastic band. And I think, all the bands played pretty well last night, and it was in Philadelphia last night. It all blurs after a while, but no, everything went really well last night. I think Wintersun saying they had a few issues, just first show's always a bit rusty now and then, but I think it's going to get smoother and smoother.
And the last time that we talked was actually at this venue.
It was,
and it was right after Martino kind of came into the band. How much of an asset has he been to the musical style of the band now that you've had some time with him?
Yeah, he's been really good for us. He's kind of opened our eyes to, he's very influenced by a wide variety of music, and so his energy has been really good for us. And I think the band keeps going from strength to strength, especially with him and his influence. So it's going to be interesting to see how the new materials progresses. I mean, we started writing now, but his influence, I think, is going to be putting across a strong statement for our music. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it evolves and to see what people think.
And then the last thing that I have for you is you touched on new music and writing.
Yeah.
When do you guys kind of figure out when it's time to kind of push the button on touring? Because you tour relentlessly.
Yeah.
When do you kind of decide it's time for us to kind of work our way back into the studio?
Well, we try to tour as whatever markets we can on our album, and to think is there a little more room to sort of get a little more exposure on this particular album, and towards the end of what we think would be our touring cycle for an album, we start kind of being a bit more conscious about writing and when we potentially think that we'll go into the studio and then release, and then we're already thinking about when we'll come back to whichever countries, depending on what release we're sort of what release kind of time period that we're aiming for. So for us, so we're really conscious of writing now for the next album, and so we want to do a little bit more touring next year, and then ideally we'd want to be into the studio sort of second half next year, sort of after kind of festival season. So we'll see what happens before that in regards to shows. But no, I can't say anything at the moment. But yeah, we're working on things.
And one more, and I'll let you go. What musical direction are you guys going to want to go with this album? I know Earn was a big step forward for the band.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
I guess, we've got Martino in the band now, so he can influence it either way as to what direction. I'm not entirely sure. For me, I will always want to go for a darker, harsher edge to our sound. However, I'm just one person, so I can only influence the band so much. But I think, as with our sound, we can pretty much do anything we really want. I think our fans kind of expect something different from us each time, but at the same time still retaining our kind of core kind of elements to our sound. And so I don't think the core will change overly much, but I think there'll be a few surprises on the album, whether it's more technical or more melodic. It could be. We're kind of feeling out a few songs at the moment that we're working on. So yeah, it's really hard to say early stages, but fingers crossed for me personally. It goes in a sort of much darker way. But I love everything we've done, but because it's a collaborative project, obviously, and so yeah, it'll be interesting. But I don't think fans will be surprised, but at the same time, in a way, it can be kind of expected as to what we'll be doing. So.